So the latest from MCU TV shows is Moon Knight. Now Moon Knight follows our character Stephen Grant, played by Oscar Isaac. And Stephen is a bit of a nervous bloke who can't quite understand what's going on with his life. He can't quite make sense of it, and neither can us as audience members. Stephen Grant has a very strange life, from tying himself up at night, hallucinating or not hallucinating, waking up in different countries and being hunted. And kind of because of all these weird elements and the strange just character and the strange story, it didn't actually feel like a Marvel show, which is kind of refreshing. And I think it's also the fact that we haven't seen this character before. You know, it's a completely new thing into the MCU. I mean, because of the whole Egyptian gods, you know, Egyptian museum based theme, it does make it feel like it was a spin-off show for The Mummy or something rather than a Marvel spin-off show. But I gotta say, it's pretty intriguing, and that's mostly down to Oscar Isaac, who is just very captivating. You kind of can't take your eyes off him. He's a really interesting character to follow around. You want to learn more about him for sure, and I gotta say as well, his British accent, very good, very good. I'm impressed with it. He sounds like a proper geezer. And the first episode is easy enough to follow, even though it's kind of dealing with a random, confusing, strange story, but you can keep up with it. It's not like you're left completely unsure of what's happened. Like, you can sort of get the gist of what's going on, but you don't know why it's happening. And there was a lot more action in this first episode than I anticipated. They kind of just went straight in here to show how crazy this guy's life is, even though he doesn't know why it's happening. But I think it was cool how these action set pieces didn't really play out, because Stephen is the one in them, and then suddenly the problem is dealt with, but he doesn't remember how it is dealt with, and that's obviously to do with his alter ego. But I think it was a cool way of doing it. You know, we can see that obviously he's got some crazy capabilities that he doesn't even know about. However, in these action set pieces, I do think the CG was a bit off, at least for Marvel standards. It was just a bit noticeable at times. It didn't always look that great. It's not awful by any means, but it wasn't great. I kind of expected better based on what I'd seen in previous MCU shows. Of course, it's early days, it's only the first episode, so can't really be too judgmental, but you know, I have this slight worry about whether the plot will actually be as good as Oscar Isaac. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he is going to carry this show, because he's so good. You know, he was so good in this first episode, and we all know how good of an actor he is, and I just wonder if the story is going to meet his standards, you know what I mean? Because I'll be honest, right now the plot itself isn't grabbing me. You know, like, even though we don't know much, the little snippets don't really fascinate me that much, but Oscar Isaac does. His performance does. That I want to see more of, and I'm hoping the story is as good as he was in this first episode. But like I said, early days, time will tell. You know, I'm not going to jump to any, you know, negative conclusions. I'm not the best at theories. I can't really theorize where this is going to go. I'm sure some people have an idea of where it's going to go based on like comic books or whatever, but for me, I just think this show has promise, you know, especially down to Oscar Isaac, and I'm intrigued about his character. I'm intrigued to see how Stephen deals with figuring out his alter ego, and then seeing, you know, the other side of him. But either way, Moon Knight, that was a solid introduction. You know, it's done well already, and it's if it keeps up this momentum, if it, you know, gets better, it's certainly got potential to be one of the better, if not the best, MCU shows. But, you know, I think Loki did set the bar pretty well, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I'd give the first episode a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Joe Squared, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.